So let's talk about some of the debates getting a real buzz online today, and one of the most discussed stories is the secret life of a blogger. Now, 2 years ago, Geraint anonymously began writing the blog Cityboy. Detailing his life as a stockbroker, it exposed the egos, the abuse and greed that drives the financial world. But now he's quit the square mile, gone public, written a book, and he's here. Welcome to our programme. Now, we can't possibly do justice to this book all in the time, but let's establish, is this real? Is it fact? Or is it fiction?
Most of the things in it are certainly fact, but they didn't always happen to me. They may have happened to other people. Yeah. I have to be a bit careful for legal reasons, but also because, of course, my mum and dad might be watching this.
Yes. You've had an interesting life, haven't you? Because, I mean, you would, when you were 19, you wouldn't have dreamt you were going to end up a stockbroker.
Oh, right? No. My plan was to travel the world selling trinkets, selling bags, selling jewellery for about 5 years. And it was, unfortunately, my brother decided in his wisdom that I should perhaps try and have a go at the City. I didn't even know what an investment bank was the day before I joined the City.
But you were obviously damn good at it.
Well, that's extremely kind. I'm just quite good at blagging, I think is a term I would use. I can kind of get myself out of a tricky situation. When you've got two older brothers, you know, knocking every argument you ever have, then you have to kind of gain that experience and skill.
Are they really that awful?
No, I do exaggerate somewhat. I think, in terms of arrogance and greed, I think we City Boys are the exemplary examples of those particular vices. And
the top ones are of a kind, are they? You kind of need to be...
The scum always rises, as they say, don't they?
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, I think, to be honest with you, a degree of ruthlessness, a degree of competitiveness, a degree of obsession with money and status and things like that, that's always going to help you.
And a degree of arrogant confidence, surely.
You kind of need to be arrogant. You need to be arrogant to do it, because every time I buy or sell a share, I'm saying that everyone else in the market has got it wrong and that I know better. And on that basis, arrogance is a prerequisite for the job.
Now, tell me, you started blogging about this. You kind of... Did you know at the back of your mind, if I do this for too long, I'm bound to get found out?
Yeah. And I think, actually, Freud would say I wanted to be found out. You know, I'd been doing this job for 12 years. I promised myself I'd only do it for 5 years. I had misgivings about it from the very word go, frankly. And that's why I was able to write the book. But, you know, I got the blog, I got the column first in the London paper, then the blog, and then a nice guy from Headline said, would you like to write a book? And I was like, this gets no better. And then published today, Cityboy. And I'm just so, you know, it's just been a really great journey for me.
But were you about to be outed, so to speak, anyway? Did people start working? There can only be a limited number of people who could write this well about the City.
Oh, that's very kind. I mean, basically, there are two problems. One is there are certain, what my friends in the City call Geraintisms, phraseology that only I use. Second of all, some people started hearing the stories that I was telling in the column that I'd mentioned 2 weeks before. So I was joining them in. Yes, and what I'd do is each time I got found out, I'd join them to a kind of inner circle of trust. But it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like a game of sardines, where, you know, the cupboard I was hiding in was getting too big. So I was eventually going to get found out, and of course I would have lost my job almost certainly had I done so.
Yeah, some criticism from it. You've probably seen it on the book publishing pages. So riddled with stereotypes. There's this particular critique here that it's difficult even to attempt to work out what the truth is. I suspect there is in fact more fiction than fact in this work, and most of the stories are anecdotal. But hey, drugs, sex and scandal, that's what sells books. Well, fair dues.
I mean, I'd say, as we used to say when I did history, from whom? I suspect that was a embittered City boy seeing himself identified somewhat and then therefore criticising me. Or maybe he's just got some total validity in his...
Oh, no, the cityboy.biz site here, there we are. Look, everything you wanted to know about the City, but we're too afraid to ask. Don't talk to the monkey, talk to the organ grinder. Yeah, well, that's an old one, isn't it? We should do something a bit more refined.
No, if each time you click on it, it will give you a new... If you refresh it, you'll get a new one. I hope they're not too rude for your viewers.
Well, OK, I better scroll away from that.
But
all right, just in case.
All this isn't done by me. This is done by... I've outsourced, like all good City Boys, I've outsourced my blog and my website to someone called Sophie Lodge, who is not only a good artist, but very kind of computer literate. So I'm fortunate in that way.
Geraint, good to meet you tonight. You're going to come on the Unplugged show we do on Wednesdays next week with a whole host of other guests. So we'll see you again then. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Now, another story.